to really like enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that says if you want to apply your logic and reason, if you're, like a philosophical person, just apply your logic and reason to Lord Chaitanya's philosophy. You'll find the results will be amazing.
Yeah.
So, right now, we're going to switch over here and see if I can.
I just received in the mail today the Madhurya Kandambani, um, the one that was written by uh Narayan Maharaj, I think. I've
Yeah,
listened to the audiobook a number of times. It's so good. It's such a pretty book. And the Srila
yeah. There.
Vishwanath
Who is it written by?
Chakravarti. It's Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's
Oh, yeah.
book, and it was
I don't know if I've read
translated.
that one. I've read so many books I can't even remember. What is it? Madhurya Kanambini?
Yeah, and it's so good, dude. It's so good. What a pretty book. What a like. I think
Yeah, yeah.
get
Vishwanath
to know.
Chakrabarty, he was from the like the 18th century, I think. Like
Yeah.
and he was a very I've heard some stories about him. He was like a hero too, because uh he he did all kinds of things uh to stand up to the forces back then.
Mhm.
But let's see. I think we're gonna start out with 281 here. Okay. Okay, this is just different ways that Krishna is relating to the residents of Braja and how they were attracted to him. So we start with, I do like 10 Anucchedas at a time because that seems like a good amount of time. It's usually about 20 minutes. I'm actually close to the end of the book. I'm actually at page 451. There's 592 pages. So I don't know what I'm going to read after this. I'm going to ask my audiobook mentor to please give me some more to read, because I'm like I'm like a Cookie Monster or something. I
Read the
need
Vedas. Read the four Vedas. No one has them. I mean, like, there's the audiobook for the Rig Veda. There's one. It's not great quality. I didn't really, it's hard. It was hard for me to listen to, but I listened to it because it was what was available. And when I heard the whole Rig Veda, I was really surprised to hear all these things I've already heard in Srimad Bhagavatam and in Mahabharata and in various other literatures. That it's just like each and every single one of these Vedic literatures takes the essence and conveys it again. They're all
Yeah,
like that.
well,
It's so
it's written
pretty.
by the same author.
Yeah, well, like like
Manjusharna and
logically,
Jagaveda is all by Vyasadeva, and he wasn't satisfied even after he wrote all those. And so Narada Muni came and visited him in his hermitage along the banks of the Ganges and said, he knew why he wasn't satisfied is because you're writing all this stuff about, like trying to elevate people to different, through fruitive activity, but you're not writing anything about Krishna. Just cut to the chase. Write about Krishna. It's like an escalator. You can go to or stairs. You can take the stairs to the top floor of the Empire State Building, or you can take the escalator. Or the elevator. Go right to the penthouse, the topmost floor. So write about Krishna, and he Narada Muni actually chastised him, even though he's a supreme personality of Godhead. I mean, in literary form, I mean, he was the incarnation of Godhead who was empowered to write, he wrote the Vedas, and so all these books. I mean, if you go into a college or library, you'll see all these books. There's just like rows of them,
Hmm.
I mean, you have a lot of them. I
Yeah,
was
and I want to collect all of
reading
them actually.
like some of the Upanishads, maybe like the Tatatriya Upanishad or some of these more mode of goodness Upanishads that have to do with devotion. Um, but I'm going to just stick. I always like to ask my audiobook mentor because he always has a lot of good suggestions, and he can give me these books, because he has access to the database. You know what the database is?
No, not necessarily. I don't really understand the structure, or
Well,
like
the
I
database
go
is
to
an
Betaways.
online thing, but you have to be able to unlock it. I mean, it's free now. It used to be like $500, but it has everything on it. And then you can get all the Vedas online, and everything Prabhupada wrote and all his conversations and all his everything. But I don't I couldn't figure out how to do it because I'm kind of computer illiterate. So he just downloads things for me, like this Priti Sandarbha here. He gave me the other one by Satyanarayan Das, but then he gave me this Priti Sandarbha. This is by Banuswami, and it has
Mhm.
all the Sanskrit in it. So we don't read the Sanskrit. We're just going to read the. Okay, Zeevee's going to tune in here uh, just in time. So let
Walking
me
it through.
hold on. She's she's coming on, I believe. Did you do anything for Easter?
Actually, yeah, we read some of the Bible after but my son Ian and he's reading Upanishads, the principal Upanishads. He's on the very last one in the book right now. He just made it to the very last one. It's like three more pages and he's done with that book. And my daughter, she's
You
in
have a friend that's reading the Upanishads?
my son.
Oh, your
My,
son. Oh,
yeah, I'm having him
which
read them.
Upanishad is he reading?
He read most of them practically, like the 12 principal ones that I forget. There's just one left that he has to read, which is the Svetasvatara
Yeah, that's the one I was
Upanishad.
thinking of because Shweta Upanishad, it's got, I think that one is quoted more than any other Upanishad by Prabhupada in all of his
Nice.
books.
I think all the Upanishads or the principal ones that I've read, I think they're beautiful. My daughter, she's reading the Bhagavad Gita. She's in the eighth chapter, and then today, after we read, they both read those, from the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. We read together in from the book of John. Uh, Jesus is "I am the vine" passage, which is really sweet. I like that passage, so I had them.
The book
So we
of
sat.
John.
Huh?
What I am divine. I'm not familiar with that. What
He
is
says,
that?
"I'm the the vine. He's the vine, and the Father's the he prunes those who are within him and
Oh,
cuts
okay,
off those
divine.
who
I thought you
aren't."
said divine, Divine.
Then he says, he
I've
says,
heard
"Love,
that.
love." Tells him what your command is. He says, "If you love me, you do what I command." And he says, "Love your neighbor, love them as
Well,
as I love
that's
you."
a really famous one. Okay,
Yeah.
Zeevee's on with us now. She'll be appearing shortly.
Yeah, we that's what we read that stuff today, and that was it. That's all we did.
That is nice. Hey, how you
Hey,
doing?
all right. Sorry, I've been busy. A lot of family stuff going on, and today I'm here till they
Is
all
your
show up.
dad there?
He was and he left, but everybody else is coming over in about
Oh
20
my
minutes.
God. Yeah, well, it's a holiday, right? It's not exactly the most opportune time, but thank you for sacrificing a little bit of your time. I don't know about Hemang. I don't know. Is that how you pronounce it, Hemang?
Come
He always corrects me. I'm
on,
never saying it right.
come on,
Hemang.
come
But
on.
he's doing laundry or something. I
Yeah,
mean, you probably saw his text.
yeah.
But he'll be up and down the stairs. He'll join us shortly. But we're going to just dive in here because Happy Easter, by the way.
Thank you. Happy Easter, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, my computer's acting all weird.
Have
Sometimes this
you ever heard of Yamini Yamadas Brahmachari? He's a comedian. He used to play for in the band Shelter.
I've heard of the band Shelter. Sorry, I
Yeah.
lost you. I'm having I don't have a mouse, so I can't control. It disappeared. It's very hard to see anything. Oh boy.
Anyway, he put a book out, or he put an album out, and he had a picture of himself in front of a big fire in the Christmas tree. And he said, and he had like a Prabhupada hat on, one of those Prabhupada
Yeah.
hats that he used to wear. And he had like a big frown on his face. He says, Christmas is not in Vaishnav calendar.
Nope.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, well, neither is Easter, so
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, Prabhupada said that Jesus is our guru. I mean, Sean was just telling me how they read from the book of the Bible today, and I think that's awesome.
oh,
Jesus,
that's cool.
Jesus was he. Yeah, I especially like the Christian attitude of do unto the least of these, my brethren. You know,
Yeah.
and also Sean was saying he read that from the Beatitudes, right? Love the Father, Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. That's actually one of the main principles that we talk about as far as like um, understanding how the Christian faith is guiding human society because like people look down on immigrants and poor people and they don't respect each other based on their skin color or whatever. But the Good Samaritan, the story of the Good Samaritan talks about how, actually a lawyer came up to Jesus. He said, what is the Lord's commandment? And Jesus said, so you tell me, and he said, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and all thy mind. And then, he says, you know that, okay. So, and then neighbor as thyself. But then, this lawyer wanted to like find a loophole or something, so he started questioning Jesus and he said, well, who's our neighbor? You know, he wanted to he had kind of a challenging spirit, And
Hmm.
so he said, um, the Good Samaritan is actually your neighbor. You know the Good Samaritan story?
Yes.
You do. That was like the guy who was beaten up on the side of the road, and the Samaritans were actually the ones that were the enemies of the Jews back then. They were like the immigrants or the Muslims or the blacks or whatever. And the Good Samaritans were the enemies of the Jews. And so the Good Samaritan, that is your neighbor, Jesus said. So, that's like shocking, to anybody back then. And so that is the lesson that, and he said, as you do unto the least of these, my brethren, you do unto me. Those kind of things are really, I mean, we do have that in the Vedas too. I mean, when you're a householder, you're supposed to go out of the door and yell outside the door, is there any hungry man
Oh, really?
or woman, of course,
Huh.
is there any hungry man? And if there's no hungry man, then you can eat. Otherwise,
Mhm.
you gotta like the householder's duty is to feed everybody. So that's why Prabhupada stressed the prasadam distribution, because that's one of the Vedic sacrifices that householders should do, because we have to take care of each other,
Yeah.
in the neighborhood. So we're going to start here. We're just going to read I don't know where Hamang is, but that's all right. So we're going to start at annotated 281. And I'll just read the first one. Hold on. You won't be able to see this, Sean, so I'm gonna take it
Oh,
down to.
I can zoom in on my screen actually. I can see it really clearly right now.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. I can zoom in even closer, like to a full
I'm gonna
screen.
do it just one single page and then enlarge it. Okay, so this is Anuccheda 281. See, these are different examples of different loving exchanges that the gopis and different people in Vrindavan had with Krishna. This is the gopis speaking, I think, in Anucchedas 281. Who but a cheater like you would abandon young women who come to see you in the middle of the night, enchanted by the loud song of your flute, though you know the nature of your flute, and though you have completely rejected our husband, children, fathers, mothers, brothers, and come to you, O Achyuta. And I guess we'll just read one at a time here. Our minds are filled with desire, are repeatedly bewildered on seeing the arousal of your desire through the intimate conversations we had with you in secret, on seeing the remarkable smile on your face, your loving glances, and your broad chest, the resting place of the goddess of fortune. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31, 16, and 17. Gati Vida Tavod Gita Mohita means, quote, you play songs on your flute, knowing that they cause bewilderment to us. The gopis speak to the Lord who is not present. So, they're calling him a cheater, and they're saying, like, you're just a fool. We've abandoned everything to come to you, and who but a cheater wouldn't take advantage of this situation? And you called us here with your flute, so why are you being so duplicitous? Basically is what they're saying. Go ahead and Sean, you were the first one on, so you can read Uncharted 282, just the English.
Okay. All right. The following also shows revelation of his emotions in Purva Raga, Gopi speaking. O Tulsi, Krishna plants you and serves you in Vrindavan for the benefit of the cows, and Rati for the gopis, Skanda Purana. Also, in union, he reveals his love. Smiling upon hearing these despondent words from the gopis, Krishna, the supreme master of all masters of mystic yoga, mercifully enjoyed with them, although he is self-satisfied. Surrounded by the assembled gopis, whose faces blossomed by his glance, Krishna, who responded to each of them without fail, whose activities were most attractive, whose smile revealed his shining rows of teeth, white like jasmine buds, increased in beauty like the moon surrounded by stars. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29, 42 through 43. There are two types of being controlled by prema, another quality acting as udipana. Um,
Udipana means like a stimulus for ecstatic love.
okay.
Have you
By the
read
pre,
have you read the Nujula Nilamani, Sean?
I've read half of it
Yeah,
a
that's
while
that
back.
that deals a lot with the Udipanas.
Yeah, I didn't read the entire thing. I stopped in the middle of it and I thought I'm not really comprehending what's going on
Yeah,
here.
well,
And
that's like it's pretty high stuff. I mean, it's
yeah, so
definitely above my pay grade. I mean,
I
that's
abandoned it
actually
and
more advanced than the Nectar of Devotion.
yeah, I abandoned it and thought I will read these other literatures first
Yeah, that's a good
um,
idea,
to
actually.
come up to more because that is like that's really deep into some details that are really interesting. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's intimate stuff too. You don't want to like have any kind of impure thoughts when you're reading that kind of stuff because otherwise it'll cause offenses. And when you're reading about the gopis and Krishna, that is actually the remedy for all kinds of like contamination in your heart as far as sex life is concerned. You can
yeah,
kill that, but that's the only remedy. It says that in one of the verses, at the end of the Rasa Leela chapter of the 10th canto, said this is the remedy for this disease called lust. Just to
mm,
find out the beautiful pastime between the Krishna and the gopis is actually the remedy for that disease because it's just a perverted reflection. I mean, it's similar to the kind of loving affairs that the men and women have in this material world, but it's compared to like um, lead and gold, the difference between the two qualities. And lust
mm,
is just Dave Swami, my spiritual mentor. I used to be his personal servant. He's a guru now in New Zealand, but he said lust is love of God gone bad, just like milk. it goes bad.
Mm.
Mhm.
So lust is love of God gone bad. It really is just a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. It may look the same, but it's not at all the same. It's just a lower quality. And the highest thing in the spiritual world, like the relationships between the gopis and Krishna, is the highest thing. The Parakiya Ras, him cavorting with these married girls, that is abominable in the spirit in the material world. But when Krishna does it, everything he does is pure, and it's beyond all criticism. So anyway, you can continue here because you were at the Udipana thing, and I
Yep. There are two types of being controlled by prema, another quality acting as udipana, by prema of others and by prema of the beloved. Here is an example of being controlled by others' prema, friends in this case. O sinless Yashoda, your darling child, the son of Maharaj Nanda, has festively enhanced his attire with a jasmine garland, and he is now playing along the Yamuna in the company of the cowherd boys, amusing his dear companions. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:35-20. Here's an example of being controlled by the beloved prema in Purvarag. Just as Rukmini's mind is fixed on on me, my mind is fixed on her. I can't even sleep at night. I know that Rukmi, out of envy, has forbidden our marriage. The meaning is clear. The Lord speaks to Rukmini's messenger.
yeah, I mean this is like Krishna can't even sleep because Rukmini had never even met Krishna, but she'd heard about him from Narada Muni or somebody, she knew about him, and she picked him as her husband just by hearing. And so, but like they have all these songs. I think Van Halen has a song, "Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. I, you don't, I can't sleep at
The
night.
Kinks.
Really got me."
It's not Van Halen, that's the Kinks. It's a 60
That's the
song.
Kings.
Yeah, that's the Kinks.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. It's definitely not Van
that's a
Halen.
good
That's from
song.
the
I mean,
60s,
but
yeah.
it's like, but material attachment, that's totally material. But Krishna's uh, attachment to Rukmini, she's a goddess of fortune. There can't be anything more pure than that. She was actually the goddess of fortune, his principal queen. That's a really sweet pastime. I think I'm more attracted to Rukmini than a lot of other the just those pastimes from the 10th canto are
Yeah,
really
they're really attractive. I like them
yeah.
too, honestly. They're
Yeah,
really,
especially when
really
Krishna
attractive.
like kidnaps her. She had it all planned out so he wouldn't have to kill anybody. And I like the way he just like nonchalantly gets out of her chariot, scoops her up, and picks her on the chariot, and he slowly goes away. And then Rukmini was like displaying her beauty, her material beauty, to all of the assembled kings. Like Rukmi and Jarasandha and all those guys that were gathered there in case Krishna tried anything. And they were so bewildered by her beauty that they were falling off their horses and elephants. And they, I mean, but she wasn't even really displaying her spiritual beauty. She was saving that for Krishna alone. And she was looking in the corner of her eyes at the crowd, and she like pulled a little strand of hair, and then she saw him, and then he immediately picked her up and put her on the chariot, and he slowly rode away. And all the princes and everything, they were saying, we're like, curse on us, curse on our heads. We're supposed to be great warriors, and here we're letting this jackal carry away the booty of a lion, and they all gathered on their chariots and started chasing after him. But this is the way Krishna does everything. Is so chivalrous and so romantic that everything is included in all the human emotions are there, and it's so satisfying to see because everything he does is perfect, and it's just so beautiful. And but anyway, I thought that was funny that that Rukmini was like making all of them fall off their horses. And that wasn't even really displaying her real beauty, her real beauty was reserved for Krishna alone. That was just her Maya beauty, like her reflection or something. But she was definitely beautiful. Rukmini Dwarkadesh in LA, she has green eyes,
Hmm.
those deities, and the original deities of LA, this big temple where Prabhupada's books were published there. Okay, so Z- uh, Zeevee, you can read the next two. Why don't you read the next two of them?
Okay. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, upon seeing those autumn nights, scented with blossoming jasmine flowers, taking shelter of his Yogamaya, decided to fulfill the desires of the gopis. Krishna took shelter of Yogamaya, his Shakti, which fulfills unlimited desires of unlimited people by its nature. Controlled by Prema and Sambhoga is shown. Smiling upon hearing these despondent words from the gopis, Krishna, the supreme master of all masters of mystic yoga, mercifully enjoyed with them, although he is self-satisfied. The despondent words were indications of the intense prema. The word mercifully, sadayam, indicates that he is controlled by their prema. Though he was Atmarama, he was controlled by their prema. That shows the greatness of their prema. Just as Atmaramas are attracted to Krishna qualities, Krishna as Atmarama is attracted to the gopis prema. Sukadeva speaks the verses.
Okay, there's two different types of meetings and separations. Sambhoga is meeting. When Krishna and gopis meet, that's called Sambhoga. And
Mhm.
then Vipralamba, that's separation.
Mhm.
And it's actually Vipralamba is actually more intense because as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's like Krishna compared it to like a poor man who finds some money and then he loses it, and then all he can think about is the money. That's why
That's
he.
a ain't that that's a parable in the Bible. One of
Is
Jesus'
it really?
parables, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah, isn't
Could
it?
be,
It's the same
I
thing.
mean, but Krishna actually said that too,
Yeah, I
because
think I think the Jesus teachings come from the Vedic teachings. They're just reflections
I
of the
mean, they
same
say that
same
Jesus
thing.
actually went to India and he hung out in Jagannath Puri, but I don't know if how valid it is. But
I'm
if
not, that stuff is speculation and it's cool and stuff, but when it just comes to the logical reasoning of what's being said in these spiritual teachings,
yeah,
they're they're being said in different ways, but they're still trying to accomplish the same thing, and they literally are saying the same thing.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. You're
I
just looking
can't see a
from
difference in
various
them.
points of view, just like like Jesus said, like in the Bible it says, you shouldn't sleep with your mother. Krishna didn't have to tell the Aryan civilization to do that because
I
they're
think
a
that's
little
in
bit
the
more high class.
Manusmriti. Well, I mean, these law books and the Vedic law books and stuff, they list off all these prescribed duties, and there are
Yeah,
like a
what to do and
lot of
what
it.
not to do, right?
Yeah, it's already there, and then just generally, it seems like Jesus' teachings are just the essence of those things. That none of it contradicts
No,
itself.
but it's just like the difference between, like Jesus is actually asked by by his followers, and he told them like, "There's a lot more I could tell you, but you're not ready for it." You
Right?
know,
Yeah, I don't
but
think he.
Arjuna was qualified because he was his friend and disciple, and plus they were just so much more um, advanced and materially and spiritually back then than even they were in Jesus's time. I mean, they both came from pretty simple backgrounds. Krishna came from a cowherd village, and Jesus is from like he hung out with fishermen. But the thing is, he could only. What's that? Was that all?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah. But anyway, it's like um, you can only handle. Krishna will only give you as much as you can understand. So it just depends on the person you're speaking to.
yeah.
But Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest book, though. I mean, like all these other Upanishads and the Puranas and there's different Puranas and they're different for different modes of nature. The Vishnu Purana and the Padma Purana are for the mode of goodness. I don't think I'm going to read all the other ones because they're like for the mode of ignorance and passion. But yeah, but I'll read whatever he tells me to. I'm just uh, I'm just kind of like his book reader. He asked me to read the Padma Purana, and he said nobody's ever read that before. And he said I only know one person. He works with BBT. He told me I only know one person that's read the Padma Purana, and the Srimad Bhagavatam has 17,000 verses. Padma Purana has 55,000 verses,
Mm.
but it doesn't have the purport, so it took a lot less time.
Yeah.
But he said I'd really appreciate it if you could read that. It would be like a service to the devotees, if I read the audiobook. But I did, and it's got some amazing pastimes in it. I mean, one of them is like Arjuna becomes a gopi. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I maybe mentioned that, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never heard the
Yeah, that's
official
in the
story.
Padma Purana. There's some amazing pastimes that they have to be real, because truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. I guess this is my turn here, I guess. Another example, this is 285, is given, my dear king. In the water, Krishna was splashed on all sides by the laughing gopis who looked at him with love. As the Devatas worshipped him by showering flowers from the airplanes, the self-satisfied Lord took pleasure in playing like the king of the elephants. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-23. Svarati means Krishna who had rati for his own devotees, the gopis. Rati means attraction. Seeing that the gopis were fatigued from conjugal enjoyment, my dear king, merciful Krishna lovingly wiped their faces with his comforting hand. In Bhagavatam 10:33-20. This is another example of being controlled by their prema is the following. The arms of the Lord on contacting the foreheads of the gopis began perspiring and his hair stood on end. Vishnu Purana 5:13-54. Shukadev speaks. Okay, go ahead, Sean.
Anucchedas 286. Moreover, it is said, in this way, Krishna, though he is the master of Lakshmi, took pleasure in the company of the young women of Braj by embracing them, caressing them, and glancing lovingly at them as he smiled playfully, while acting boldly as a child plays with his reflection. As Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-16. As Lord of Lakshmi, Rameshaha, uh, he controls Lakshmi, but the gopis control Krishna. He enjoyed by embracing them and glancing at them. This indicates that they control him by their prema. The metaphor of the child playing with his reflection indicates the highest attraction of prema between them, where it appeared that they were moving as one person in pastimes of singing and dancing.
Yeah, I mean it takes a pretty high level of love of God in order to control Krishna. I mean, even at first, Yashoda couldn't even control Krishna when he was being a bad boy and he chased it after him and tried to tie him up. And he didn't allow himself to be tied up at first, but when he saw that, he saw that she was laboring so much, he allowed himself to be tied up. He can't really control Krishna because he's the master of everything, but he's controlled by love. He's actually he only knows the devotees, and the devotees are the only and the devotees only know him. And so that's like a really reciprocal relationship between the devotees and Krishna, and it's ever increasing. And but another name of Krishna is Madana Mohana. Madana Mohan means the attractor of Cupid. Cupid is like the most attractive thing in the material world. But Radharani is Madana Mohana Mohini, is the attractor of Cupid. So that is so that's why Prabhupada used to say, if you want success, just try to understand how to please Radharani, because Krishna is controlled by Radharani. He doesn't. If you can please Radharani, then your success in spiritual life is guaranteed. because Krishna will accept you as a devotee. That's why Prabhupada, whenever he had like a bunch of sadhus into his house, his father would pray to the sadhu, would give him something to eat, feed him and treat him nicely. And he would ask the sadhu, please bless my son that Radharani will be pleased with him. And so then the sadhu would bless Abai, Prabhupada. But that's a good tactic to raise your children by. Okay, Zeevee, you can read the 287 here.
Who else is coming?
Xavier. Sorry. Cassidy and waiting for Cassidy. Do you want to call them and see if they're coming? Sorry.
Stuff to get your flowers. They're closed already.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Sorry, guys. I got company.
Hi, you got some people coming over.
Yeah, they're here.
Okay, well, if you want to get off, we can continue this, or if you want to stand and listen,
I'm gonna stay for a minute because I'm waiting for everybody else to get here.
Okay, you're just going to take a break, or if you want to stay on, we'll probably be on until maybe like 45 minutes, like quarter to another 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but that'll be it.
Okay.
But
a few minutes. I'm just waiting for the other kids to come.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Sean, you can read the next one too.
Okay.
With the gopis.
With gopis firmly attached to him with Anuraga, Krishna, whose desires are always pure, who had fixed in his mind, enjoyed with them, served the nights lit by the rays of the moon, all the nights which gave shelter to poetic topics of Ras in autumn, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-25. Krishna Chandra, who had a following of girls constantly attracted to him, Anurata Bala Ganaha, having conjugal enjoyment fixed in his heart, Avaruda Saurata Atmani, having special prema devoid of chains, Satya Kamaha, served all the nights, shelters of Ras, which are the topic of poets. Sharat can mean autumn or a year, a continuous period of time. The nights of the autumn or year were lit by the rays of the moon. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:60-58, the word Saurat has a similar usage. Shukadev speaks.
So, Zeevee, can you read one?
Yeah.
288.
Okay, 288. In the same vein, the Lord himself says, I am not able to repay my debt for your spotless service, even with a lifetime of Brahma. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties which are difficult to break. Therefore, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. Even when he's far away, he's controlled by the
Control the Veda Prem. Yeah, I mean, Krishna was so indebted to the gopis for giving up everything. He said, I can't even repay you. You have to just be satisfied with your own glorious deeds,
Okay. Call it? Okay. Sorry.
Why don't you read this page, Sean?
The supremely intelligent Uddhava was the best Vrishni dynasty, a counselor, beloved of Krishna, his intimate friend and direct disciple of Brihaspati. The Supreme Lord Krishna, who relieves the stress of all who surrender to him, once took the hand of his fully devoted dearest friend Uddhava and addressed him as follows: Dear gentle Uddhava, go to Vraj and give pleasure to our parents, and also relieve the gopis suffering in separation from me by giving them this message, or giving them my message. The minds of those gopis are always absorbed in me, and their very lives are ever devoted to me. For my sake, they have abandoned everything related to their bodies, as well as Dharma and other people. I alone am their dear beloved and indeed their very self. Therefore, I take it upon myself to sustain them in all circumstances. Srimad Bhagavatam 46, 1 through 4. The Lord afflicted by Cupid's arrow does not eat or sleep. He thinks of you day and night. Skanda Purana.
Go ahead and read this last.
Since the princesses of and the gopis are non-different, he married many princesses to end the separation, and they would not give up their lives. This Kishori Gopa Kanyas ta Yauvane Raja Kanyaka in his Kaishora age. That's when he's a little boy, right?
Yeah, Kaishore is like
the young little kid.
12 or something like that.
His consorts were the gopis in his youth, and his consorts were the princesses. Rukmini says
Yavana means like 16.
Oh, lotus eyed one. Great souls like Shiva hanker to bathe in the dust of your feet, your lotus feet, and thereby destroy their ignorance. If I cannot obtain your mercy, I shall simply give up my vital force, which will have become weak from the severe penances I will perform. Then after hundreds of lifetimes of endeavor, I may obtain your mercy. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 52, 43.
Now that's a pretty solemn vow by Rukmini, you know. If she couldn't have him, she'd just, you know, spend hundreds of lifetimes trying to, you know, obtain him with severe penance, and then just give up her life. Maybe after hundreds of lifetimes in endeavor, but she didn't want anybody else but him, and she made up her mind, even though she never met him. So anyway, I think we're going to stop here because it's about 6:45. I promised, since you got people over, and I promised Hemang that I would keep it like 45 or up to an hour. But since it's busy, we're just going to stop here. Thank you for attending, and have a happy Easter. I hope
Okay.
you're.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Haribo.
Haribo.